lady friend. Got a minute? Welcome to the Women's Spotlight, Her Light, Her Story, a space where we celebrate women leaders, entrepreneurs, and creators who are showing up with courage, purpose, and authenticity. I'm your host, Tiffany, and in each episode, we shine a light on her story, the real journey behind the titles, the challenges, and the victories. Today, I'm so excited to introduce you to Dr. Shakera Moreland. She is the CEO of HIM Concierge Services. In our conversation, we're going to learn more about Shakira's story and how she shines light on her life's purpose. So grab your coffee, settle in, and let's step into the spotlight together with Dr. Shakera Moreland. So, how are you today, Dr. Moreland? We're glad to
I'm
have you here
doing
with us
great.
today.
Thank you, thank you. I'm so happy to be here. I'm excited to share my story. I love to talk about my story, so I'm thankful that you gave me a platform to do that. So I'm really excited about that. Thank you.
You're welcome. So the first question we're going to ask is, who is Dr. Shakira Moreland beyond the titles and the roles?
Wow. That is a question that I'm still trying to figure out every day. Um, Since I will say that I am coming out of a hard space. So after losing my mother in 2022, I really I got to a space where I was really trying to figure out who I was. The first thing that you are before you're anything else is you are a child to your parent.
Right.
But outside of that, I had to look at the many different hats that I wear as a mother, as a wife, as a business owner, as a child, and I had to really try to figure out who I was now that
Hmm.
my identity had shifted a bit. And so that's a question I'm still trying to figure out every day. But I will say, as I'm figuring it out, that I am taking the very necessary steps to take a step back, to breathe, to reflect, to really do some of that internal work to answer that question with more vigor next time that it's asked. I'm still figuring that part out.
Well, I first of all want to say I'm sorry about the passing of your mother. I lost my mom in 2011, so I definitely know the big loss. And I as a as you mentioned about the other roles that you hold, there's still nothing more than wanting to just have that mother there where you can just go and say, "Mama, I need you," you know. So,
Yeah.
know that you're trying to figure out that space, and I think that's what we're going to always be doing, probably until the day we leave the planet.
Hmm.
Just trying to find out what our roles are because they shift so much in our lifetime. But anyway, thank you for sharing that with us. And so we do want to talk a little bit about, since you are a woman leading her own way, what's the heartbeat behind how you show up as a leader? Whether that's in your home, because we know we can be leaders as mothers, in your work, and I hear I know you're an entrepreneur, and in your community. So, what ways do you feel like that you're showing up as a leader in any of those spaces, or if you want to share all three?
Yeah, sure. So I think that number one, I try to be authentic in whatever it is that I do. I try to be the same way everywhere I go, regardless if I'm on stage presenting somewhere, if I'm teaching students, if I am mentoring, if I am going to my kids' orchestra recital. I try to be the same way every single time. So what you see is what you get, and
Mm-hmm.
so that's the way that I show up when it comes to all aspects of life. Professionally, I try to do that as well. That's what's led me to create my business of HIM Concierge Services because I wanted to be able to help other HIM, which is health information management. I wanted
Okay.
to be able to help other health information management professionals in showing up authentically in their careers. I think that oftentimes we may find ourselves doing things or pursuing professional roles that aren't necessarily true to who we are, and so part of what I do is help others to um, dig more into themselves to kind of figure out what it is that really makes them tick so they can do
Mm-hmm.
the work that actually kind of serves them better.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. And so we know that as we go through life, and some days we are bubbly and all kind of great things are happening. And then, of course, as people sometimes say, life be lifing.
Hmm. Yes.
So What inspires you to show up and keep showing up even on the hard days, especially as an entrepreneur? Because I know that can be hard to just continue on that path, not knowing what to expect, but just continuing to show up in whatever way that may be for you. So, how do you continue to do that even when it's hard?
Yeah, so I think that for me, the number one thing is having a great um, circle of friends, mentors. They really help keep me on track.
Okay.
So I have someone, specifically Dr. Kendra Sabri. I'm not sure if you remember the name or not, but Dr. Kendra
Hmm.
Sabri and I, we are very close. And so
Hmm.
she's a business owner as well. And so we're always tapping in with each other and bouncing business ideas off of each other. And if I'm off my A game, she'll tell me with love, like, this is what we need to work on. Maybe you should consider
Hmm.
doing these things. And
Okay.
also speaking with mentors who have kind of traveled the path that I'm already on. So I'm always listening to the insight that they have. I listen to their wisdom as well, even outside of the professional realm, even personal type things, having those people around me who can give me their advice. That's something
Hmm.
I lean on as well. And so on those days when I feel like I have a low battery, I kind of lean on them a little bit and they kind of give me some guidance and get me pushing for a little bit.
Well, that's good. It's great to have those people in your circle that you can rely on. And I know you stated that HIM stands for health. Would you say something management?
Health information management.
Information management. So
Yeah.
were you like in the healthcare field before you decided to go into this entrepreneurship?
Yeah, I actually
Okay.
was. So I started off in healthcare a while ago, and I actually started off as a unit secretary. So I was the one on a surgical floor where I would take the calls from the patients, making sure that they had everything that they needed, reminding the nurses about medications that they needed to give the patients, being there for family and things like that. But I
Okay.
was just doing it to kind of pay the bills, and I really didn't
Mhm.
know what those next steps would be. But I have a lot of faith. I'm very faith based. And I just asked God one day, I'm like, I need you to give me some direction on what it is I need to do.
Mhm.
So I remember being at work one day and we had a newsletter that came out. And on this newsletter, I saw this one African American lady, and it was like a sea of people, but there was this one African American lady. She was standing in the center of that photo. And I said, I don't know who she is, but I need to talk to her. Something just called me to talk to her. So I reached out
Mhm.
to her, gave her a cold email, and told her a little bit about myself, and we connected instantly. And I
Wow.
found out that she was in health information management as well, which although what I was doing as a unit secretary wasn't similar to that, there were some things that kind of related a little bit. So she kind of gave me the information and the tools I needed to go ahead and pursue my education and my career in health information management, and from there, it's been a journey. I've
Mhm.
gone through a lot of different roles within HIM. There are a lot of different things you can do, from compliance to medical records to coding, revenue cycle. I've kind of done a little bit of everything. But I
Mhm.
got to a point where, as I was figuring out what I wanted to do, that I got a lot of people that were reaching out to me asking me for my advice on what they needed to do. And because I had so much experience with these different areas within health information management, by them telling me what they liked and what they were into, I was like, oh, well, you might want to consider taking a role in compliance, or you might want to consider taking a role in revenue cycle, so they came to me for
Mhm.
this advice, and I found out that I was really good at it. And from there, I wanted to figure out how can I help other people who might feel stuck in their career find the type of work that's actually going to be something that they like to do, as opposed to
Mhm.
just doing your 8 hours and going home and not feeling anything. How can I help other people feel fulfilled in their roles? Because
Mhm.
I kind of feel like when you feel that you are fulfilling your purpose, or I feel that if you are doing things that make you happy, that there is a certain type of excellence that you bring to that role. And for something as important as healthcare, we need the people who are most passionate doing the work.
Mhm.
I don't want to have anyone who's dealing with my medical record who is just like, I'm just doing this job so I can pay my rent. I
Mhm.
want to have somebody who's actually going to be passionate about it, because then I know that I can trust the healthcare system and I can trust what's being done with my healthcare information. So that's part of the reason why I decided to do what I do.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you so much. That's such a powerful point. And I know that's a lot of times why many people decide to, if when they start businesses, that they start businesses based on what their passion is and maybe what they have helped other people with down the line. So God has prepared you in all those areas, and now you're able to show up in your business. So let's shift a little bit and talk a little bit about self-care. And so, what does self-care look like for Dr. Shakira Moreland?
Sure. So it looks like taking a walk around the park. So I have this really beautiful park that's not too far away from the house, and it has a pond in the middle of it. It has ducks and stuff over there. And I kind of like to walk around it a couple of times a day. So
Okay.
it gives me that opportunity to clear my mind. I'll listen to music, I'll meditate, I'll pray, I'll think, and just kind of let whatever thoughts come to me just kind of come to me. So
Mm-hmm.
that's one of the great ways that I do my self-care.
Okay.
I also go to therapy, and I know that that's something that, may not be talked about as much, especially within the African American community, but therapy has been something that has been life changing for me. I
Mm-hmm.
started going a bit more once I lost my mom because I
Yeah.
needed to have a space to be able to just get it all out and just say all those things that were just like really heavy to me that I didn't feel like anyone else had the capacity to hold on to.
Mm-hmm.
So I really wanted that safe space to be able to explore those feelings. So I've been going ever since, and it has been an amazing journey. My therapist and I have gone through we've hit some major breakthroughs
Mm-hmm.
working together. So that's a necessary part in my self-care. Through therapy, I've been able to notice when I feel anxious, when I feel overwhelmed. It really gives me that opportunity to kind of sit with myself as opposed to, just constantly working where I can't feel anything.
Mm-hmm.
Therapy has given me the permission to kind of sit back and really allow those feelings to feel as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to doing something to take my mind away from it. And from being able to feel those feelings, it's really helped me to work through a lot of the issues that I've been dealing with. So that's kind of like the main things when it comes to self-care. But of course, I have my facials, and I like to get my nails done and toes done and things
Yeah.
like that. And work out a little bit. But I think that most importantly, it's so important to take care of our mental health because
Mm-hmm.
the mind is going to control everything else. So I put a
Right.
lot of focus into my mental health. So that's self-care for me.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. And one of the other questions I was going to ask, but you've kind of hit that already, is like, how do you reset when you find yourself on empty? And you even used the word of like a little while ago about when my battery's running low. Because,
Man.
a lot of times we know that our battery, it's almost like when we charge our phones and you see that low battery and you have to give it, plug it up to a power source in order to get recharged. And sometimes, as women, we have so many responsibilities and roles that we could be on that red little line and we still trying to go. So, ladies, I hope that you heard all what Dr. Moreland just stated, how important it is to take care of yourself. And if that is through therapy, that's great. Make sure that you're doing it for your mental health. But like you stated, those facials and those,
Yes.
getting our nails and those pedicures done, that's also great self-care as well. And then it helps us to feel pretty too. So,
Yeah, absolutely does.
well, can you share a time when you had to rise back from a challenge? What anchored you in that particular season?
Mm, Let me see. There's so many. God has been just so good because He's
Mhm.
brought me from so many different things. So it's kind of hard to pinpoint one thing in particular that to point out. Let me see. What's a good one? What's a good one?
Okay.
Let me see. I would say the most pivotal one so far, not so far, but one of the most pivotal ones was um I had my first child when I was 18 years old. So the day that I received my acceptance letter to the college I really wanted to go to was the day that I found out that I was pregnant with my first son,
Okay.
which was insane because the school that I went to was actually preparing me to go to college. And here I
Mhm.
was pregnant with my first child at
Mhm.
18 years old, which is crazy. But after a minute, um, I had to make the decision as far as what I wanted to do with my life. I could either settle for being, feeling sorry for myself and just kind of, giving up, now that my dream of college had kind of went away a little bit, or I can make the decision to take charge of my circumstance and do something different.
Mhm.
And through prayer and through the help of my mom and support of my church, I made the decision to go ahead and go back to school. So I went back to school. I started to work more. I started to surround myself with different people. And I really decided that I wanted to be someone that my son could look up to.
Mhm.
So that was a pivotal moment for me. So through that, I was able to finish my undergraduate degree in 2.5 years as opposed to the
Wow.
whole four. I
Mhm.
kind of just like ran through school because I felt like, okay, I have purpose. I know what I need to do. I'm just gonna go ahead and do whatever it is I need to do to make sure that um, I set myself up so I can take care of my child and, just
Mhm.
be the best woman that I can be. I think that that was a very pivotal moment for me because it was a very I felt defeated at the
Mhm.
time because I became a statistic. So I felt very sorry for myself. I felt disappointed in myself. Like, girl, you went through this whole process of going to this, to this college preparatory school to go to college. And now that college is here, you can't even go. Like, what are you going to do with your life now? And it was really sad. I went into a
Mhm.
deep depression for a
Mhm.
bit. But then, just looking at my son and knowing that I wanted better for him and, looking at my mother and seeing how she was still able to become the successful woman in her life, that was the motivation I needed to do something different.
Right. And I think about I, at least I feel that way. A lot of times I'm thinking that the journey that or the path I'm supposed to take is going to be straight. And but when we think about it, it's actually, topsy-turvy,
Man,
all kind of different directions that God may take us to or through to get us to where he wants us. And so that may have been exactly what you were thinking, but there were other plans, and you were blessed to be I don't know your son's name, but be blessed to be his mom. So I'm so glad that you
yes.
shared that story, how you might have felt a little, disappointed, but you had that resilience to bounce back and do whatever it took for you to be the mom that he can expect. So how, if you don't mind me asking, how many children do you have?
I have 3 children
Oh,
total. So I have,
okay.
my 18-year-old, he's 18 now, he'll actually be
Oh,
19,
wow.
yeah, this Saturday. I have a 15-year-old and I have a 13-year-old who's turning 14. And
Okay.
for my son, my oldest son, now that he's graduated, he's in college now, he has a car now, he has a job as a mechanical engineer. I mean, I'm so
Wow.
proud of
I
the
know you
man that
are.
he's become.
Mhm.
And just to know that, like, the lessons that I've learned that I was so afraid to learn and afraid to go through, he's taken those lessons and he's just taken off.
Mhm.
So it's just amazing looking back on what God has brought me through.
Mhm.
And you can kind of see how those pieces come
Start
together.
together. Yes.
Because at first you're like,
Mhm.
why am I going through this? But then as you go through these different things, you look back and say, oh, that's why I went through this. If I didn't go through
Mhm.
this, then I wouldn't be able to share this information. I wouldn't be able to have this lesson to share. So I'm
Mhm.
thankful for it all. It was scary in the
Mhm.
beginning, but God always has the last say.
Yes, he does. Well,
Mhm.
thank you for sharing that with us. And so, we've already okay, well, instead of it saying what practices, because you've already told me the practices that you use, but I believe mindset is very important to help you stay resilient and to be able to care for yourself and others. And so, listening to your story, we've heard that you've bounced back and been resilient quite a bit. So, what type of mindset, if a young lady, felt defeated for whatever purpose and she came to you for advice, what kind of mindset would you try to help her to frame her mind around to help her get through a crisis?
Ooh, that is a loaded question. I will
Okay.
say, let me just speak kind of from my experience.
Mm-hmm.
So, one thing that I am proud of is I am proud to be a Black woman. And with that in mind, I think about the resilience that Black women have had for millennia. So,
Yeah.
anytime I feel like I want to give up on anything, I just remember you're a Black woman. and you
Mhm.
are destined for greatness, and you have greatness within you. It's in your DNA. You don't quit. You always figure out a way to get things done. That's always been how it's been. That's going to be what it's going to continue to be. And so
Mhm.
those are the things that I personally rely on and draw on whenever I feel like I want to give up. Like,
Mhm.
we have too much history to give up on
Right.
anything. So we're going to find a way. So for
Right.
others that might come to me that are looking for advice, regardless of what their background or their ethnicity is, I'm sure that they can draw upon something within themselves, within their lineage also, that can kind
Mhm.
of give them strength to draw from. So I would
Mhm.
tell them to look inwardly, and to think about, the stories from their past, from their family that they can draw on to kind of give them some strength to keep carrying on also.
Mhm.
I think that that's number one for me, honestly. That's really the one thing that kind of keeps me going. Like, you can't stop, you can't quit, because you don't come from a background of quitters. You're always going to find a way, and that's what you're going to do too. So let's not talk about what we're going to do when we quit. Let's find out
Right.
different ways that we can continue to win. And so that's
Yeah.
the advice I would give to someone too if they're looking for that.
Well, I appreciate that because that kind of went into the question. I kind of went around this question, but it's the same thing about how would you help another woman if they felt that their light was being dimmed. I'm certain in your career there may have been times where you felt like, that the light is not a light that you're trying to necessarily shine to brag on yourself, but many times, and I can see that light in you, you have a light that some people do want to dim because it might feel like, well, she's shining too much on my light, and you're thinking, I'm not even thinking that. I'm just trying to do my
Right.
job. I'm just trying to care for the people that I work with or for the people that I work for. So, have you ever felt like your light had been dimmed a bit? And if so, what is something that you did to try to get through that time?
Many times I've had my light dimmed, or,
Hmm.
attempted for it to be dimmed. And, that's kind of part of what happens. But either you can decide to continue to let your light be dimmed, or you can
Hmm.
take control of that narrative.
Yep.
One of the I can't think of the whole thing right now because I'm on the spot. But the serenity prayer where it says, God, grant me the serenity to change
Hmm.
the things that I can,
Hmm.
give me the wisdom to know the things I can change, the things that I can't change.
Right.
9 times out of 10, the circumstances that we're in are things that we can actually change. If we're
Right.
working in a job or in a career and we're doing something that we feel like our light is constantly dim, that doesn't
Hmm.
mean that we have to sit there and take it. We have the power to decide to do something different. And that's part of the reason why I moved to entrepreneurship, because I felt like with all that I had gathered, all the knowledge that I had, that I still wasn't able to go to the levels that I felt like I wanted to go to. I felt like I had to kind of put myself in this box as opposed to being able to, be this great person with all these great ideas that I wanted to be. So instead of saying, okay, well, I can't do these things, I'm just going to stay here and hunker down. And me and my mom went back and forth when it came to this, because she comes from a background where you find a great job, you stay there, and you just retire, because that's what
Yep.
she did. She found this
Yep.
one great job and she retired. So I finally found this great job. I was working for the county. I had great retirement benefits, and she was like, you need to stay there. And I'm like, I know that this is what you want me to do, but I feel called to do more
Something else, right.
than this small thing. Like, there's so much within me that I want to be able to utilize, so many gifts, so much purpose that I know that I have, and this position is not allowing me to do that. So the conundrum became, do I stay here and just kind of play small and get this, hopefully this guarantee of, pensions, how that's
Hmm.
going nowadays,
Yeah.
or do I want to go ahead and take this chance and bet on myself and do something where I'm going to be able to expand and use all the gifts that I have, all the talent
Mhm.
that I have. And so I made the decision, once I finished my doctorate degree and I found out that there was really not much that I could do as far as growth with that, I was like, okay, well, I'm in this position, but I need to be able to do more. I went through school, I got all this information, I have these great ideas I want to be able to apply to actually make a change in the world, and this is keeping me here. I don't
Mhm.
want to dim my light. What do I need to do? What can I change myself so that I can place myself in a position where I don't have to dim myself anymore? So
Right.
then that's when I started to once again circle back to my mentors and find out how to do a lot of different things. One in particular, she was in higher education. So then she introduced me to higher education, um, working with students and things of that nature. And so I really found an interest in that. So I made the pivot to higher education based off of the mentorship that I had with her. And so basically, it's if you feel that you're dimmed, you either make the choice to stay dim or you can change your circumstances so you can put yourself in a position where you don't have to dim yourself anymore. You don't have to be a victim. You don't have to allow your light to continue to be dimmed.
Yep.
You have the power to make those necessary changes if you want to. If you want it as bad as you want to breathe, nobody's going to be able to stop you regardless of how much they try to dim your light. And I'm blessed to be in a position now where the people that did try to dim my light, they get to see me shine and they can't do anything about it.
Is right. I love that. Thank you. Yes, and it's not about trying to, look at, retaliation or revenge. It's just letting them know, "You tried to stop me, but God had other plans for me."
Mhm.
So I'm so glad you said that. So as we start to end, if you could tell your younger self one thing, what would it be?
If I could tell my younger self one thing, hmm, that's a tough one. Let me
Mhm.
see. If I could tell myself one thing, okay, it would be to shoot for the stars. For a long time, because of how we're conditioned, and because of the expectations of other people, parents, family, friends, and things like that, we might put ourselves in this box, put ourselves voluntarily into this one box, and we don't allow ourselves to think bigger than what we
Mhm.
actually can do because we're afraid that we won't be able to do it.
Yep.
So I would tell myself to just aim as high as I can and to do everything that I can. The things that I've thought that were ridiculous actually turned out to be the things that kind of helped me to be where I am today. Taking those chances, taking those risks on those opportunities that you think is a one in a million chance will actually happen has actually happened to me a couple of times. So it's like, oh,
Wonderful.
okay, and so I think I lament and think about past opportunities where I had the opportunity to try, but I counted myself out before I even did the thing. So I would
Mhm.
tell my younger self to try those new things. Even if it seems like it's a one in a million shot, try it out and see what happens. I mean,
Mhm.
the worst thing can happen is they say no, and then you just move on to another opportunity, and that might be your yes. So that's what I would tell myself because I fear and I think about what opportunities did I miss by playing small because I was too afraid to show
Mhm.
up. So I would just tell myself to aim as high as I can go and to just do the things that seem impossible.
Well, I want to just tell you, you have such a beautiful spirit about you. And, I just want to say best of luck in your endeavors as an entrepreneur. And just telling you, thank you so much for joining us on the Women's Spotlight, Her Light, Her Story. And to the audience, I want you to know that if this conversation with Dr. Shakera Moreland inspired you to keep shining your light, and I know it inspired me, and to keep walking confidently into your own story, then please subscribe, share this with a friend, and join us next time as we celebrate the incredible journeys of women like you. Until then, keep showing up, keep growing, and keep shining. See you next time, my lady friend. Thank you again, Dr. Moreland.
Bye.
Bye bye.